Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Keeping It Real on Purpose, and I am your host, Edna White, with my esteemed guest today, who is the owner of Creativity. But the company is called the Creatives Catalyst, which I love. You know, I love being creative. Can't you tell? But she's here to tell us about her aha moment. We had a great pre show, so I want to get you in on this woman who lives in Kansas City. Welcome, Emylee Williams. And her name is spelled Emylee, which I love. The
Yes, you can thank my
uniqueness.
my dad for that. He was the advocate for the unique spelling.
Oh,
I'm
lovely,
Yep,
lovely.
I'm so excited to be here and open up and chat. And I feel like a lot of aha moments I've had throughout my life and career, but we can pick one and
Yeah,
really
yeah.
dial in on that.
Yeah, I know that you came from the corporate sector, right?
I came from so I'm a business owner, entrepreneurial
Right,
startup
right.
founder at heart. I have
Okay.
never held a quote unquote real job. Um,
Oh, yes, you have. Yes, you have.
mm,
Don't say that. You've never been in the workplace, but you've
I've
had a
never
job.
been in the workplace before. Yes. I graduated college and didn't know what I wanted to do and
Okay.
decided to start my own business. A lot of my family members have their own businesses, a lot of like manual labor things, car
Right,
detailing,
right,
construction, house cleaning, whatever. But
right.
I've been raised in you get to pick your own schedule, your price, your
Oh yeah.
clients,
Oh
your
yeah.
everything. And that is when you get a taste of that, it's really
Right.
hard to say no.
Yeah.
And so back in 2011 is when I first started my very first business as a photographer and
Okay.
segued over the years into strategist, educator, creator of digital products, membership, coach, executive leader, all of the different
Hmm.
titles that I've held over the years. I co founded a company that ended up growing to be this massive multi million dollar marketing and education company
Right,
that
right,
had a template shop, a membership, digital products, group coaching programs, one services, and everything in between. Honestly, a huge audience and a huge cast, and helped over 30,000 students inside
right.
of that company.
Hmm.
And from the outside looking in, it was my dream job. I had what everyone is working in the online space. Like I had that. I had that.
Right.
And last spring, I decided to walk away from
Ooh.
everything that that job gave me,
Ooh.
the good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
I walked away from the title, from the giant list of subscribers, from the clients, from
Yeah.
the students, from the
Yeah.
millions of listeners and the audience and the followers and all of it.
Right.
Every intellectual property I'd created over the last 8.5 years, I walked away from all of it and a six-figure salary and insurance and a 401k,
Wow. Wow.
everything to save my peace. And it has been
Sounds
the
like me.
hardest, best decision I ever made.
I'm gonna tell you, it sounds just like me. Like I said, I pre-show, and you all know me, audience. I went back to the workplace in my 50s, and I had an experience that I never thought I would have. And I come from out of the real estate realm. I own my
Mm,
own real estate offices, so to to experience that, and if male, it was a male dominated in the 19 it was 1999 when I first started, and
yeah.
it was male dominated. All the brokers were men.
Yep.
you know
Yep.
Never mind a woman. I mean, I could literally put women in a small room and I could tell you they're all brokers. It's very little, very
Yeah.
little that there's, women. And I wasn't that challenged until I worked in the workplace,
Yeah.
that square box,
Yeah.
where all these attitudes and uh, unemotional, intelligent folks live.
Yep. 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 Yep.
They live
The
there.
the
They
lack
live
of
there because you think about it,
critical
they live
thinking.
there. They're 8 hours, right? 8 hours a
Yes.
day. They live there,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, you live there.
Yes. The lack of critical thinking that's in the workplace is phenomenal. And it is something that comes up continuously in the leadership development that I do with
Mhm.
government contracts and
Right.
large corporation contracts. It doesn't matter what your title is, what you get paid, what you're working on, like the lack of critical thinking and empathy that is
It
rampant
is
in those
not
spaces.
there.
Mm-mm,
It is
mm-mm.
not there. And let me tell you, a lot of people that live in that world, um, especially, corporate, I will say some corporate now, are now being, giving classes in emotional intelligence and things like that. They're
Yeah,
they're trying, but
yeah,
most people, what you can't do, and I've said this to many people, you can't train people out of their habits.
100%.
Can't.
Yep,
They have
yep.
to go to the therapist to do that.
Yeah,
They have
yes,
to see the therapist for
yes,
that. That
yes.
they have to do the inner work. So you can't train people to be, sympathetic to culture if they've never been around it. You
Yep.
can't do them. You can't do that to people.
Mm-mm.
You don't expect them, or you can teach them that certain things that you say are not appropriate, and certain
Right.
things you do are not appropriate, so they check the box and they don't do them. But they cannot be culturally sensitive. They can have the knowledge of it, but if they've
Uh-huh.
never experienced it, they can't do it.
Yeah.
So a lot of I've learned that. So being who I am, so you met me. This is the first time you're meeting me.
Mhm.
So I go into the office and I'm like this. I'm hyper. So I'm
Mhm.
like going to meet everybody, and everybody's like in their offices, in their cubicles. They're not talking. And I'm like, what is this?
What is
I feel like
happening
I'm on
here?
Mars. I feel like I'm on Mars. And I was like, hello,
Uh-huh.
you're the new lady. Yeah. Edna, right? Hi.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, whoa. Now, think of that 12 times.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh no. Oh no, I can't deal with this already. So already I
Mm-mm.
see the red flags, right? You see them already.
Yep.
So I'm a creative person, and I know that's what you kind of you talk about. You
Yeah.
you help your clients with being creative, thinking outside the box. I know you help them do all those wonderful things, right?
Yeah.
I'm a creative. I write, I draw, I sing, I just do it all.
Yep.
I'm just
Yep.
fun. I've embraced my funness, and my uniqueness. So it started to weigh on me that they weren't even speaking, and they would rather send an email than get up and have a conversation with you. And it's lo and behold, I didn't realize it started to hurt me
Yes.
because I'm not used to that environment. And when it's like putting a circle in a square,
Yep. Yep.
and it was pounding me every day to conform, to conform, to conform, and it was taking a lot out of me. 4 years of that. So,
Mhm.
and I explained to you pre-show, I heard a microaggressive word come from
Mhm.
someone, and it got to me, and I was like,
Yep.
"Who?" And even in my I guess I was upset. I'm trying to tell them this is not what you're supposed to be saying to any woman, any
Mhm.
woman. This is not how you dress. This is what you learned, but it's inappropriate to say to any woman. Let
Yep.
people speak. And it may not be to your volume, you
Right.
know, or to what you're used to because of culture, but let it be.
Yep.
And you learn that around, I'm sure you had aha moments with all of that, but I do this whole time, this whole, I guess, learning about being in that workplace is challenging. How do
Yes.
you help your clients, not your customers, your clients come when they're coming out of that, because they have to unlearn everything, right?
Yep.
How do you
Yep.
help them?
Well, I think the interesting thing that you're talking about, being in that space of being told to conform.
Hmm.
Yes, it exists in such a massive level inside the corporate workspace. You're
Yes.
seeing it in the lighting, in the
Yeah.
colors that they use, in the
Yes.
cubicle, in the energy of
Yes.
the room. Like it's
Yeah.
bleeding
I
out of
didn't
the
think about the
pores.
room. I didn't think about the
Yes.
room. You're so right.
It's everything, right?
Wow.
And those same kind of constraints happen in the online business space. And
Really? Are you
I
kidding me?
so I found
Wow.
myself part of what I've been unpacking the last 18 months because I've been going to therapy to heal from everything that I've been going through for the last 18 months. I left that job, immediately called a friend and I'm devastated.
Yeah.
Everything that I thought the future of my life was going to look like is now
Yep.
stopped. It's paused. It's we need to reevaluate. And everything
Absolutely.
that I had roped into my identity, my worth, my sense of self was
Good.
gone. And I
Good.
was definitely naive in the sense of, because I was in a partnership, right? It was a 50-50
Yeah.
partnership. And
Right.
I 100% expected I'm going to be leaving this and we are still going to be friends. We are still going to be connected and supportive and can cheer each other on in whatever journey because I do
Yeah.
believe that about people in this space. And
Hmm.
what I hadn't really connected was that there were so many of those constraints being put on me and
Right.
that I was putting on myself. Like it wasn't what people were doing to me, it was what the box that I was allowing myself to be in. And as soon as I started to see another version of what work could be like, what life could look like, what hobbies could look like, there was absolutely no turning back. It's
Hmm.
everything in therapy of as soon as you can see something, there's no unseeing it.
Right.
As
There
soon as
isn't.
you right? As soon as you feel the toxicity of a space, you cannot unsee that. And I had to come to the realization that everything that I had expertly designed for myself in this career with my audiences was no longer serving me. So when I set out to create my new thing and my new business, my new brand, my new messaging, I knew that at the end of the day, whatever lens I'm working with clients, it's going to be seen through a lens of authentic intentionality, period. Nothing
Hmm.
else. If it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't get you the result that you're actually after, then
Right.
we don't even need to concern ourselves with that thing.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Um, I'm gonna tell you that I've never experienced anything like you did. Like I literally started to get headaches and get sick upon knowing. And this is during the pandemic
Yeah.
that I had to get on a Zoom with them. And I said something's off. I didn't want to. I would get up to get up to wake up to go back to sleep. It
Yeah.
was a weird. I'm not a sleeper in the daytime, unless I'm
Yep.
on vacation or something. And even then, I'm not asleep.
Right.
But I started to notice. And I said, "Oh, I better go to the doctors." So I went to the doctors, and sure enough, I'm talking to him. He knew me for a while, and he says to me, "Edna." First, he asked me. He says, "I'm going to ask you something." And I said, "Okay." So he says, "Do you feel like harming yourself?" I said, "No, no." And then so he says, "You feel like harming someone else?" I said, "Yeah." Everybody in that Zoom,
Yes, I
the
do.
one, all of those that in that Zoom. And the minute I said that to him, he started laughing. He said, "Edna, I think you need a break."
Yeah.
I said, "I'm getting headaches, and
Yeah.
I know that I don't know where they're coming from, and it's just at 9 o'clock. As soon as I get on, it's like a headache.
Yep.
I don't hear anything they're talking about, and then I'm asleep. I don't
Yep.
want to. I don't want to get up. I want to wake up to get up to go back to sleep. That's what I want
Yep.
to do."
Yep.
And so I had to take a mental break. And he said to last words he said to me, he says, "Sometimes this is a signal,
Mhm.
Edna, that you have to leave. You have to leave. Sometimes it's good to leave.
Yep.
Yes, you might not have the things that you think you need. That's exactly what he
Right.
said, think you need,
Mhm.
but you have to leave for your own peace, your own,
Yep.
your own health." He says, "Because you're fairly healthy. There's not, you're not on the medications or anything, and you do all the things you need to. Now you're stressed out, you're gaining weight, and I've never seen you do that.
Yeah.
I said, I'm getting up. I'm telling you, waking up to go back to sleep. It's bad."
Go there.
So
Yeah.
I was getting depressed. I
Yes.
was getting depressed, and I
Yes.
had to go to a therapist for 2 years.
Yes. Yes.
Two
Yes.
years. Two
Yeah.
years.
This fall will be my year anniversary with my current therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And we are on such an incredible journey together. I don't see it ending anytime soon because I'm getting
Right.
so much like holistic benefit from our sessions and from the relationship that we have. But it's very interesting of how it manifests differently. I was my first sign of I am so stressed up to my eyeballs when I start to completely zone out of everyday like family activities, cooking dinner, eating dinner
Yeah.
with my husband and our child, watching a movie, but I'm not aware, I'm not here. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
dead behind the eyes, truly. Like because
Yes.
I'm thinking and everything in my brain is how can I fix this issue? How can I fix and change what's going on right now so I can
Right.
feel differently? What do I need to be doing differently so that I don't feel like this? And it
Right.
was a very similar situation that you're talking about where I was more tired. I was the someone who's like, I mean, I was raised by women who never sat down, right? And
Right.
there is a that's also an unlearning, right? Of like
Yes.
you deserve rest,
I know it, girl. I know it.
right? You deserve rest. You deserve
Mm-hmm.
to be horizontal. You deserve to stop doing. There is a lot of untangling from my physical productivity that I've had
Yeah.
to make in the last few years. I had a really major surgery in my early 30s that drastically impacted my physical
Wow.
capabilities. And sometimes there are physical brick walls that we hit to make us slow down. And
Yeah.
I think that was my first sign of the situation that you're in day to day isn't for you. It isn't
Yep.
healthy. It isn't
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
And that thing, that business, that audience, that curriculum, that IP can
Mm-hmm.
exist and serve people in amazing ways. And
Yeah.
I don't have to sacrifice myself anymore to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, that means you're in alignment. When I've learned that for myself, and then that's what I teach my clients is when it's a hard to push, when it's hard,
Yeah.
you're out of alignment. You're out of your
Yes.
purpose. You're off your
Yes.
road. You're off your
Yes.
journey. They're like, what? Well, I need to work. I said, do you?
Right.
Right? No, seriously. I was like, do you?
Right. Do you? The
Because I think that's
consequences of
something
not working might not
right.
be ideal,
Ideal,
but
exactly.
you
You might not
cannot
be
do it.
ideal, right? And that, yes, it's going to be some challenges, but I've seen it. I don't think you might have gone to Italy, right? You've gone to Italy, right?
Mm-mm.
They
Mm-mm.
break. They
Mm.
when they break 12 to 2. The whole town closes.
Yep. Big
Nobody
fan
does
of that.
nothing.
Big
Nobody
big
does
fan of that.
anything.
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah.
So we have to get to the place that we have to believe what we say and say those things and create like you teach your clients is to create, but
Yep.
also with your mouth, but also
Yep.
the mind. How do you create with the mind? What is the idea that you're going to put pen to paper or foot the pavement about? What is
Yep.
it? What are you
Yep.
going to do?
Yep.
What's the work you're going to put behind it? And I think that's the scary part of it. And I said, you think that all these companies, how do you think these companies started? One person
Mhm.
with an idea,
Mhm.
and then they hired people. They got to a
Yep.
place that they could hire. The same thing. It's just a small business in a larger
Yep.
scale.
Yep.
So it could be
Here's
you.
the funny thing in your, your explanation of like, how do you think these big businesses started? And then they just grew and they grew and they grew. So at my old company, when I left, we had 7 full-time employees, 401k
Hmm.
benefits, PTO, like all the things. It lived and breathed and felt like a corporation, like a workplace job, right? It
Yes,
just
yes,
happened to be
yes,
fully remote. My office
yes.
just happened to always be in my house, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I remember, like, even probably a year and a half before I left, there were
Right, right,
conversations I was having with my co-founder about this doesn't feel fun anymore. We made
right.
the rules and this doesn't feel fun anymore. And I felt like we had modeled so many practices that we were using with our employees, with our team, with our students modeled it so strictly off of corporate because that's what the real workplace does. That's what the
Hmm.
real business owners do. And if we want to consider this real or legitimate, then we need to model it off of that. And I remember like going to some meetings, like literal one-on-ones and performance reviews and doing whatever, and sitting there being like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? This
Right,
doesn't serve
exactly.
me at all. And I made these rules. So I left it.
Yeah. I love that. I really, really love that. And I'm glad you're saying something about we can make those rules. I think
Yeah.
sometimes we don't realize we have a choice
Yes.
and we lose our voice to it. I had a group last night, and so I was trying to get them down to understanding who their ideal client was by understanding themselves. Because
Mhm.
sometimes,
Yep.
and maybe you can chime in. I was trying to when I got into the coaching space, I was trying to do something that I wasn't familiar with. But the minute I started doing something that I was familiar with, I need no paper,
Yep.
not write nothing down.
Yep.
It was just came easy, and it was like boom, 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 done. And it was like
Yep.
everybody loved it. But when I started to do something that wasn't what I wasn't aligned with, it
Mhm.
was harder, and
Yep.
it didn't come out as good. So what am I saying about that? That our creativity has a lot to do that, but it also stay in alignment. If you stay in alignment with who you are, you'll affect your clients on that same level. So I affect my clients if I'm working with real estate
Yep.
people starting in real estate. Boom, they know I know my business. I have clients. Boom, 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 coming in. If I'm going to teach what you do,
Right.
I'm going to teach somebody to ghostwrite or something. I don't
Right.
know how to do that. I'm
Right.
going to fail miserably. So in order to know your ideal client, you got to know your ideal self. You got to know your
Yep.
real self. You just got to,
100%.
right?
Yes. Yes. I believe in this so much that I convinced a friend of mine who I've been asking for probably 7 years to, girl, you need a podcast. Like
Uh huh.
your insights are so great. Start a podcast, do it. And she's like, no, no, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. I just need someone to be there to like ask me questions. I can't just do a solo show. And I'm like, all right, fine. So finally, after I left my previous job, after I had more time on my plate, I remember specifically we're in the hot tub. I'm in the hot tub. She's in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Wow.
on we're on Voxer, so sending
Mhm.
audio messages to each other. And we're talking about some marketing strategy or whatever, because that's what we do.
Right.
And I said, this would be a really great podcast. And she's like, yeah, it would be. And I said, do you want to finally start that? Like, let's do it together. So we did it. She finally said yes. But the reason why I bring that up is because our podcast is called Lazy Business Podcast. And what I mean by that is when you're implementing strategies that are
Yeah.
so aligned with how you expertly show up and
Yep.
how you want to work, it will feel lazy. It
Yeah.
will feel easy. It will
Yes.
feel like people pay me
Yes.
for this.
Mm-hmm. And
And
that's I people ask me, I have so many roles. So I'm the president of a chamber. I am also on the chair of a international organization. There's like, how do you have enough time in a day? I said, because I'm doing things that I love to do.
yes,
And believe it or
yes,
not, I don't have much to do. And they were like,
right.
what? I was like, I have to learn how to relax. And I think
Yes,
the universe is making me relax. Like, okay, go do something. Go lay on the couch.
yeah,
Go read a book. Do something. Do something.
yep,
I was like, I really don't have a lot of time. I have a lot of time. They were
yeah,
like, no way. I said, yes way.
yep.
Time management matters too. So
100%.
in that
Yes,
creative
yes,
space,
yes, yep. And that's what
time
I love
management.
helping, my clients. I love making data-driven decisions. That's what I
Hmm.
talk about with my
Yeah.
clients all the time.
Uh-huh.
We could sit here and throw spaghetti at the wall all day long. There's a
Right,
time and a
right.
place for that. When you're just getting started, you don't know what's going to work. Throw the spaghetti at the wall and try it. But as
Yeah.
soon as you've reached your first six figures and it's a consistent, like
Hmm.
exactly what you could do to do that again and again and again, then we need to chat. And if soon as you're offering, especially more than one service, more than one group
Yeah.
program, more than one retreat, conference, whatever it might be, then you're going to sit there and you're going to say, okay, well, now I have a new financial goal, or I want to work even less and make a little bit more, or I want to hire some people and impact, folks in my actual community and bring them on board, or I want to do an international retreat and that's going to take this much extra money to be able to do these things, right? You have different goals based in that business. You're going to start going back to the throwing the spaghetti at the wall in order to make that happen. But you're a big girl business owner now.
Right.
You have
Exactly.
data,
Exactly.
you have facts, you have a history of transactions and customers and communications. So my job is to help get all that data in one spot and then teach you how to start interpreting that data so that you can make decisions that are in alignment for the results that you
Hmm.
want. That's
Right.
it.
Right. So I just want to make this clear. Is this like research or it's not research? It's doing using your data
It's
that
using
you've
your
already
data.
gotten.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. We start
Okay.
by looking at the last 12 months. That's in our biz
Right.
audit magic. We
Right.
look at facts first before we
Right.
predict the future.
There you go. I love that. Yeah, I do that with my own self. I didn't know what it
Yes.
was.
Right. We're doing a biz
I had no
audit.
idea what it was, but I look at like, okay, when I was talking to you pre-show about working with women of color and how that I was kind of shamed out of doing that because a marketer told me not to.
Mhm.
But I was looking at my data. I wasn't looking at anything else.
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
looking at my data when I came up with this. This is who I work with, And I've worked with some men in real estate, but most of the time it was women.
Yep.
100% of the time it was women, and maybe a guy came along and said, "Oh, I need help with this," and that was one guy out
Right.
of 12 months,
Yep.
and
Yep.
so yeah, it requires your data because you look at it and you excel from that. You
Yep.
plan from, okay, I did, this is how many people I service. What am I going to do next year? Projections for
Yep.
next year.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's being able to sit in the driver's seat of saying, if I pull this
Yes.
lever, here's what could happen. And I want to make educated guesses about the actions in my business. And I want to know when I do wake up and I have a low bandwidth day, that if I've got to focus on the top priority that's going to get me the next result, what's the one thing that I could do today if I don't have that much time or energy or I don't feel great? Here's the thing that I could do. And sometimes that thing is
Yes.
sleeping or drawing or making cookies. And I'm very much like, when I talk about creativity, I talk about doing something with my hands. And it's not just for me. This is proven science of like when our hands and our minds are busy and focused on a thing, whether it's making cookies, making bread, coloring, knitting, playing, doing a puzzle, like anything like that, we are allowing ourselves to go in a type of meditative state that
Hmm.
is often
I love that
really
meditative.
difficult. Yes.
Yes.
It's often really
Mm,
difficult to get there. And if you
yeah.
find yourself the person who's always ruminating on the task that's coming next and the things you need to do and what you need to buy and where you need to go and the appointments you need to make and all of those things, do something creative with your hands and you will
Yes.
start to recognize that those voices are quieting down a little bit.
Oh, that's
And
so good. Yeah.
when that happens, clarity can come. And
I'm gonna tell
like,
you, I'm a big proponent of tapping, and I didn't know what it was
yes.
because it would calm me down. It would, and I have, it would calm me. And when I am meditating in the morning, it's too much. Everything's going through my head. I find
Yep.
that I just start tapping, and I focus on
Mine's
that
this
tap.
butterfly move.
Yep, yep.
Double tap.
Yep. I just tap, and I'm like, wow. I didn't think of nothing. I didn't think of
Exactly.
nothing at all. And
Exactly.
you really clear your mind. But yeah, it worked. It definitely works.
Yes.
Definitely
Yep.
works.
Yep. I love that.
Hmm.
It's really funny because as I've been on my healing spiritual journey the last year and a
Right.
half, I I've been very adjacent to this space of manifestation, of tapping, of affirmations, of positive thinking, of all of these things. And I've always been someone who's been like, well, I get it. I can understand it. I can see how it works. And I've never been able to really implement it in my day to day. I'm not good at
Right.
sticking to routines. I'm not good at meditating. I'm not good at focusing. I'm not good at
Yeah.
stopping. All of these things. I'm not good at journaling, right? Everyone always talks about the power of journaling. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I will tell you what, the more that I have become aware on this healing spiritual journey and intentionally introducing these aspects into my life, I have journaled every single day for 37 days in a row now. Looking at my calendar, 37 days in a row. I've never done that before in my
Oh
life.
my
Like,
gosh.
that may seem not a big feat for people who who journal all of the time, and this is a practiced habit, but
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm tapping every day, and I'm, reminding myself where my
Yeah.
headspace needs to be, and I'm regulating my nervous system. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just this, it's a game changer.
It is. It is. I said that too, and not to say anything about, anybody's practice of religion. But I said that, prayer is different from meditation. You can't replace it.
Right.
Prayer is prayer, meditation is meditation.
Right.
And I was doing it because I come from the childhood trauma, you know, sexual trauma area. So I had to find a way to release all those things that were going on and the
Yep.
energy that was in my body, because it started to take place. Like, I would get these tumors everywhere.
Yeah.
I had one here that they had to take out. I had two in my breast that were like banana sized, and they didn't know where they came from. They kept saying, "Did you get hit by somebody?" I said, "No." Did you? And they said, "Well, did you hit your chest or?" And I was like, "No." But I started to realize it was the trauma inside of me pinging around,
Yep.
and I was like, "I got to get this under control," because
Yep.
now I'm seeing how cancer starts.
Yes. Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
because I mean, I'm
Yes.
telling you, I had a fatty tumor in my shoulder. It would started growing like I felt like the fly. Remember when the fly was the fly or the two-headed? Remember back in the day was an old movie, black and white. It was a two-headed man, and the eye showed up first in, in the neck, and I was like, this thing is getting bigger, and it was uncomfortable. Like it wasn't hurting, but it
Yep.
was uncomfortable. And I went to the doctor. He's like, it's a fatty tumor. I
Yeah.
was like, what? He's like, yeah. He ended up cutting it open and then taking it out. I was like, well, good that you came, because if it had calcified, then that'd been another step that we had to take.
Oh,
And I'm like, when I started seeing that all over me, it's like, yeah, time to
yeah.
find
We need to
something to kind of
process.
release this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We need to process, release, cleanse. Yep. Yep.
it
Yeah.
was
It's
time to
wild.
change. Yeah,
It's wild. And
yeah,
I I've been practicing the 369 manifestation
yeah.
journaling.
Me too.
That's what I've
I
been
just got
doing
involved
for
with that. Yeah,
37 days in a row.
yeah,
It's freaking magic. Like, I
yeah,
don't I it is wild. It
yeah.
is wild. It
Right.
is the one thing that I'm like, I am committed to doing this every
Yeah.
single day, no matter what. And it
Right.
is, as soon as I do it for the day, I'm like, "Oh, I can't wait to do this tomorrow." Because I can't wait to see, like, what magic unfolds as I continue this process. And
Yeah.
that's been really exciting for me, for someone who's consistently not great at keeping routines. The
Right.
routine I can keep is not keeping routines. Like,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
I
good
can
at
keep a
consistent.
routine. I just get bored real quick. You be like,
Oh,
okay,
yes.
this is
Oh, yes.
boring.
Yep. I'm done.
This is
Yes.
boring.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. It's wild. And it's
Yeah, it
the
is.
the
It
the
is.
permission to finally give yourself this space to recognize that there might be
Yeah.
something better for you,
No, absolutely.
even through the difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And being open to accepting whatever comes your way, because everything's not for you. I tried yoga and I'm pretty good at it. I just don't, okay, I'm one, okay, so what does it get me though? Like,
Yeah.
I'm always the one, what does it get me? Like,
Yeah.
the next step is being tangled up. Okay, what is it getting me? What is that getting me? Like, I
Mhm.
don't know what was the end result. I'm doing all these moves. What's my end result? I didn't. It wasn't for me because I didn't get the full picture of it, and it really wasn't for me to get the full picture because it wasn't mine.
Yeah.
So
It wasn't
I
yours.
moved on to it wasn't mine. So I moved on to Tai Chi. I tried that. I said, okay, I can do that, but it really
Yep.
wasn't for me. And then just, I'm telling you, walking was the thing.
Yeah.
Walking
Oh,
in
I love a walk. Oh, I
any
love a
type of
walk.
weather, every day, melt the pounds, keeps me
Yeah.
active, keeps me moving, melt the
Yeah.
pounds. may do some weightlifting in between there, but it works. And 15 minutes of movement, that's all I
Mhm.
needed.
Yep.
15 minutes of movement. That's it. That's
Yep.
it. A
I love
day.
that. Yeah.
15 minutes of movement keeps your weight down, all of that. It's just 15 minutes of movement.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
it matters. It really works. It works. I tell you, I love it. I
Yeah.
love learning, being
Yes.
open to those portals that come in,
Yes.
the quantum leaping, all of that is just
Yep.
love
Yep.
it.
Yeah, it's the same process I had as I was mulling over the like, "Oh, I think I might need to leave this job. I might need to step
Yeah.
away from all of this."
Yeah.
Was the I can recognize that it had gotten me so far and it had taught
Yeah.
me so much about myself and I had learned
Yeah.
so much. But
Me too.
I felt like in the same way where you were talking about the round peg in a square
Yeah.
hole. Like
Yeah.
it's exactly how I started to feel in the sense of like I want this to be something different than what it is so that it can
Yeah.
serve me again. And
Yeah.
it can't change. It's me.
No. No. And it'll change you, but
Yep.
you will never change it.
Exactly.
You will never
Exactly.
change it. And that's that. I thought it was my ego that was doing that when I was like,
Mhm.
oh, this hasn't changed because I'm here. I think I'm supposed, because I'm a believer in whatever I touch, I leave it better than I got it.
Yeah.
And literally the job that I received, they had no title for it. They had no job description. I gave it existence. I
Yeah.
created it. I
Yeah.
became that. I embodied it. And to this day, they can't even feel it because I created it. That's a
Yeah.
problem. You can't fit somebody in something that I created it. You didn't know what to do with it. I created it. I did everything for
Yep.
it. So I left it in a better situation than I received it, but I thought I was going to make them better,
Mm.
make them communicate, build teams. Because here I am, a business owner, and I'm sure
Yeah.
where your space, you were like, I know how to do this, and this. Whether you're a homemaker or whatever it is, you work with teams. I'm
Right.
sure, you work with teams.
100%.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Yes.
you know how to make a team work, and
Yes.
when I went there, I was like, I handled
Yep.
two offices with
Yep.
15 agents in each. I could handle 7 people.
Yep.
I'm saying this to
Yep.
myself. Little did I know they were handling me because they're used to living and being
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So my son said to me, "Mom, you can't put you can't put a free bird in a cage. You're a free
Mhm.
bird.
Mhm.
Can't do it." He said,
Mhm.
You're a free bird. You can't do it.
Yep.
You can never do that. They will fight and scream and they will end up hurting themselves." And he was right. He said they will hurt themselves before that cage ever gets hurt.
Yep.
Ever. Because they're trying to get
The
out.
Yep. The thing that my therapist always reminds me of is what's good for you is good for the whole. And if we believe that everything I touch I leave better than it was before I got there,
Yes.
then even me leaving is
Yeah.
what's better for that
It's
thing.
what's better. That is correct. Because if they will, I'm gonna tell you something. If you're in a toxic work environment, you you make them suffer as well as yourself.
Yes.
Because they don't, number one, they don't know how to respond other than what they're responding and behaving to. They've always
Yep.
done it, always got away with it, and they don't know how to be any other way. So you're making them sick because they have
Yep.
to act different around you or avoid you altogether. So you're actually crippling the mission, if you even believed in the mission of the organization, you're crippling it because you're making them not act the way that they normally are. And
Yep.
you can't change them because it's the dynamics of their culture. It's almost like it has to be burned down.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and
To
that's like
start over from ground up
exactly
to
how
in
I
order to
felt.
establish,
Yeah. When I left, I was like,
wholesomeness.
oh, I have 13 years of experience, and yet I'm standing here feeling like this brand new baby business owner.
Yes. Yes. And then I'm gonna tell you on the back end of it, then they start to you make it professional decision, educated decision, in your field decision, and then they question you on that decision that makes sense, almost to say, did I make the right decision?
Right. Right.
You're like, wait, did I make the right decision? Was it the right? You start to question yourself.
Yep.
And that alone is your confidence getting sick. Is your
Yep.
confidence? It's like a gut punch.
Yep. Well, and
And
the work I had to go through over that summer before I started, because I took the summer off to
mhm,
heal and grieve and process before I
yeah,
started taking on clients again. Like I needed 3 to 4 months to
right,
be by myself. I
right,
needed money. We had no income coming in. Did not make sense to take that break, and I
yeah,
had to take that
right,
break.
right, right,
And I had multiple conversations with people in that break of figuring out, oh, wow, I actually am dealing with a lot of imposter syndrome and
yeah,
self-doubt about
yeah,
what I can provide without the safety net of that company and
right,
without the support of a business partner and a
right,
team and all of the things that we had. Am I good enough to come back out into this space and
mm-hmm,
offer something different and
right,
start over and do what I need to do?
right,
And I mean, the answer is yes, but I had to get there. I had to go through
yeah,
that
absolutely,
process of that doubt.
yeah, absolutely. You have to get past it. So, what are you doing in these coming months? Offering anything free? Having workshops? What are you up to?
Yes, I actually am in the process of recording my first free resource right now. It's taken me a year to develop something free,
Oh,
and I'm
nice.
excited. So it's a private podcast series
Okay.
for folks who are wanting to dip their toe into consulting or offer a new service offer. It's 6 figures to six
Hmm.
months. It's the exact timeline and roadmap, actions and steps that I took to replace my 6-figure salary in
Nice.
6 months when I started over. So I'm going to walk you through how to take the expertise that you do have, refine that into a service, price it, market it, and get it out there.
Gotcha.
So that freebie is coming up. You can literally grab that at creativescatalyst.com/roadmap. Um,
Okay.
and then there are a couple of really cool chat GPT tools that I've developed for folks who are wanting to
Mm-hmm.
take that a step further. So, okay, you've listened to the podcast, you have an idea of what to offer, but you need help naming it, pricing it, literally structuring the package and your project management, scripts for client communication, writing your proposal, everything that's going to take you to landing that first client. I've
Gotcha.
created 9 very custom, very labor intensive ChatGPT bots that I update on the back end, and you have the public access
Mm.
to those with worksheets that accompany those bots, script, directions, everything. But you can have your service identified, price, package, proposal written, and scripts to start reaching out to your network in an afternoon by utilizing those tools. So those are all at
Oh, wow.
creativescatalyst.com/learn.
Gotcha. Oh, that is so good. I know a couple of people, and maybe even myself, that might need that service.
They're
But
really
we
cool.
thank you for that. Oh, it sounds cool. Sounds like a lot of fun too, as well. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much for this lively and this poignant
Yes.
conversation. And I want to thank you for
Yes.
being here today. This brings us to the end of our show, but we want to thank you, audience, because you could be anywhere else you wanted to be, but you're here with us today, and we want to thank you for that. This is Edna White, your host, and my esteemed guest today, none other than the only Emylee Williams, and we're saying goodbye for now.
Thank you.